Blessings and greetings and blessings with those we're alive because we're intending to stay alive in the most existential of moments. And we are looking to share with you not the entirety of all chapter 41 from Psalms, prophetic composition by David HaMelech, Naims Neret Yisrael, by King David, the sweet singer of Israel. But something which I think is appropriate for the times we're living in because in this time of, got some water stains on my shirt, but that's okay. I don't think they'll dry out by the time we're finished. But whatever. That's why we call it live broadcast, with all the imperfections of being live or alive is. People are shouting over each other, wanting to make their viewpoints known. It's kind of, to me, it's intrinsically disgusting because minds are not open, but rather it's kind of like a deterministic mode of thinking at this point. We need a breath of fresh air from the prophetic teachings of the Torah to try to widen the dialogue as wide as it can get, wider than ever humans could think dialogue can get on the human table of family condition reasoning and thinking and hisbonenus, meditation, analysis, eon. And so I'd like to share with you some teachings from chapter 41, and hopefully all of us will take to heart, including this humble sharing person, that is I, Tonzi Goodman, a Torah Askana, Torah activist. For the conductor, a song unto David. Verse 2, praiseworthy is who cares wisely for the sick. On the day of disaster, Hashem, Creator, will surely cause him to flee. This verse is praising someone who is wise, concerned by visiting the sick. Sometimes we just take it as a duty, an obligation. Here we see it's considered a concern which is wise. And the term for the sick person is called dal here. Dal is referring to someone who's very sickly, and also dal can mean lean. This is according to Rashi, one of the primary elucidators of the oral Torah tradition, referring to a person who is usually thin and wasting away, almost to oblivion, but still there's a chance of helping this poor person, a sick person. King David, who at certain junctures of life was also bedridden, was also called Dal. And therefore, in Psalms 30, verse 2, he praised the Almighty for curing him. And he used the words, Ki delosoni, the Lashon of Dal, for you have elevated me from the lowly status of the Dal, the sick. Within the context of this verse, the person who's called wise is called maskil, because a wise person who comes to visit a person who is sick may in fact manifest an understanding of what that sick person needs. And this is according to Radak and Ibn Ezra. Dal is also implying poverty, impoverishment. And the theme of this verse is not limited to caring for the sick. It also covers the broad spectrum of philanthropic activities for those in need. The Nesher Gadol, the great ego, Rambam, teaches us there are 7 levels in the performance of charity, tzedakah, the right thing to do. The very best way is to offer a poor person a loan, and it should be an interest-free loan, to help himself or help her and save their dignity. So the maskil, the wise person, who plans his benevolence, intelligence, and understanding, will see fit that his charity is provided in this fashion best suited to the circumstances of the person in need of assistance. That's from the Dorish Moshe. In this sense, the maskil can also mean not only is the person coming to help the poor person, the sick person, the impoverished person, but it means they are teaching intelligence to help the poor person understand the reason for his poverty, or to comfort the sick man with an explanation of the cause of his ailment. Ibn Ezra. This is a very wise person. Normally, most of us don't walk into the room of a sick or impoverished person and say, hey, it's because of this and that. You're a very, very wise person. So we who are not at this level of maskil, I claim that myself, we validate their feelings, we affirm their feelings, we show empathy and sympathy. But for this wise person that King David is talking about, alluding to his prophetic teaching, can explain these matters to them. But for most of us, and I include myself, I'm not going to walk into some room where a person's sick, explain them why they're sick. I'll pray for them to get healed. I'll wish them the best. Ask them what they need, what they need, what I can do to hopefully help them in some small way. Furthermore, a person of some consideration for the needs of the needy. Again, we're talking about a very high level of wisdom. Not for us, but just something we should be aware of. There are people that do this, that are truly wise. They can make the patient understand who's afflicted with poverty. It's for his good to purge him of his misdoings of the past and save him from worse punishments. Now, again, this is really not something you or I should try, but we should be aware there are certain people that do this. I've met such people that can do this. And then the category of the tzaddikim, the righteous. Fortunate is such a person who can withstand his personal test. For every creature on the earth, the Almighty tests. The Almighty tests the rich person. The rich person can internalize the fact that all the bounty that he or she has is merely a loan to see if they will help out the poor and give generously to the poor. Unfortunately, we see many people that are wealthy, very wealthy, in the category of filthy rich, not questioning how they made it. That's between them and God. That give far too little. It was said, I think, of Rockefeller. He would make 1,000 and give out a dime. I mean, a truly just person, if he made 1,000, he would give it $100, if not $200. More than that, they're not obligated according to Torah law. If a rich person who's been bequeathed such bounty will examine why they've been given the fruits of wealth in God's ways, can bring much joy to this world. And for the joy that a person brings to others in this world, so shall they rejoice in the future world, way past the time of redemption. Maskil al-Dal, the Malbim, teaches that an intelligent person will also learn from the poor, learn from the destitute. That the wealthy person will notice that the Creator is still providing for the pauper or the sick person, even though they suffer in deprivation, whether it be economic or physical. But the wise person can see that the pauper or the sick man are still surviving through God's mercies and constant intervention. But we can embellish that mercy. We can embellish that intervention with those who can help those who are poor, those who are destitute, those who are sickly. And what is the reward for that? On the day of disaster, the maskil, the intelligent person, who benefits the poor, benefits the sickly, learns from the sickly, learns from the impoverished, they will be spared in situations of crisis. Sforno, one of our classic commentators, mentions that there is a promise in the future world to the person who attends to the sick and the poor. There was a Reb Shraga Feivel Mendelowitz would encourage his students to make sacrifices for charity, not only when they prospered, even when they themselves were in dire financial straits. And I once heard from one of my seminal teachers, Rav Shneur Zalman Gafni Shlita, former Rosh Yeshiva of Or Tamimim, Yeshiva Or Tamimim in Kfar Chabad. Now he lives in his Yega B'Torah Yom V'Layla and Misyaiga and toiling in his prayers for redemption of Yisrael. Once heard him say that they were Hasidim of the fifth Chabad Rebbe Rashab, and in years where they would lose money, they would give 10% of their tithes from the money they lost, not from the money they made. Such was their trust and their betochum in the Almighty. So praiseworthy is he who cares wisely for the poor. So on the day of his own financial personal disaster, the Almighty will deliver him or her from such evils. So that was just chapter 41, verses 1 and 2. Hopefully, as we go forward, we'll continue. And it's not a long chapter. It's 14 verses. 14 verses. So we've covered basically 2 out of the 14 verses. Hopefully, we continue. Havachad, one love. Gorelachad, one destiny. Darki Shalom. To remind everyone, don't be surprised when we can, each one of us, 8 billion strong of the human family condition, where we can eliminate hatred and jealousy and competition, not need one to the other, we'll find ourselves straight smack right in the epicenter of universal redemption. We have a Havachad, one love, Gorelachad, one destiny, Kulan for always, but dark, shalom, in a peaceful, pleasant way. And now we get to the next smile with that award-winning smile.